Okay, so the Chinese Communist Party are trying to push more of their propaganda to us gullible Westerners. I wonder what they've got in store for us this time, eh? Can't wait.
It was starkly different from what I perceived from some Western media.
Oh no! Not more genocide denial. Okay, if I have to.
Sweet grapes and all kinds of tasty melons are what we conjure up when it comes to China's Xinjiang.
No, grapes and watermelons are the last thing that I'm thinking about when the word Xinjiang is mentioned. Now this is what I think about.
Frigid as it is, the expanse teems with life. I was first welcomed by hundreds of camels. The ample milk they produce more than guaranteed the livelihood of 22 Uyghur and Kazakh professionals, caring for them day in, day out. Vendors were advertising their goods in loud voices. There were bargains and jokes, some in Uyghur language, some in others.
Cute furry animals and people working in non-forced labour jobs just doing their thing at a market. Okay then, I'm sure that this is a true representation of life in Xinjiang for all the Uyghurs, right?
Seeing these furry animals, I couldn't help but wonder, what about the more vulnerable plants?
He couldn't help but wonder about the more vulnerable plants? He's in Xinjiang in China and all he's thinking about are some vulnerable plants. I'm pretty sure that there's a lot more vulnerable things out there than some plants, for God's sakes. It looks to me from this video that plants are treated a lot better than the Uyghurs are in Xinjiang.
Frankly, I didn't expect such vitality here in winter before hitting the road. It was starkly different from what I perceived from some Western media. Seeing is believing. This is what I see, and I hope every one of you can come here.
Ah, so now we see the true motive of this pathetic little video. Propaganda. The mere mention of Western media seriously rings alarm bells for me. Why does he even need to mention Western media in the video? It just completely gave the game away. Think about it like this. We're all watching a video about the distribution cycle of food in Xinjiang, and then out of nowhere, we get a little Western media lies thrown in there. All of a sudden, just randomly, there's a little political message at the end of a food video. Why would they do this? Well, obviously, it's a propaganda video made to whitewash what's really happening in Xinjiang, and it's some real low intelligence propaganda at that. It's like the child who ate the chocolate bar before dinner, even though his parents told him not to. He comes downstairs with chocolate all around his face, chocolate all over his clothes and on his hands. And then when his parents tell him off for eating that chocolate, he says, "I didn't do it." This is how obvious the CCP is with their propaganda. There's nothing subtle about it at all, no hidden meanings, just straight up genocide denial propaganda. The CCP is that child with chocolate all over their face. Now obviously we know that this is propaganda right from the start, yeah? Because it's Chinese state media. And of course, they have their little agenda regarding Xinjiang. but you'd think that they'd make a little bit more of an effort to disguise things. It just amuses me as to how dumb this crap really is, and the Chinese government, they must really think that us Westerners are absolute idiots. So here's what I see from silly little propaganda videos like this one. The Chinese government are desperate, and they're desperately trying to hide what's really going on in Xinjiang, and they are crapping their pants because more and more people are discovering the truth.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
Every time a real Western journalist ends up in Xinjiang, they're constantly monitored and they're prohibited from just freely roaming around anywhere they want to go. A journalist's job is asking questions and trying to find out the truth of what's happening in a situation. But the Chinese government don't want any of that. Oh no. They're so used to having absolute control over their own so-called journalists that when they encounter a real journalist, they freak out and try to completely control the narrative. And this is their downfall, because this is where it goes all wrong for them. Because most of us, as soon as we see how they're trying to control the situation and make up the narrative, it automatically makes us suspicious, and we wonder, what could they be hiding? Why do they have to control the narrative like this? Why are they going to such extreme measures to control what's happening in Xinjiang? I've seen so many videos of Western journalists being pushed around by the CCP officials in Xinjiang, and it would be easy to mistake this place for North Korea. Seriously, it really looks that bad. Even the CCP's foreign shills aren't allowed free reign in Xinjiang. By the way, anybody who's new to this, the foreign shills are people that upload videos onto Western social media pushing the narrative of the Chinese Communist Party. If you can believe that people would actually do that crap. They're not necessarily paid by the CCP, but they definitely enjoy pushing that CCP propaganda. Anyway, back to the point that I was trying to make. The CCP will never ever trust a foreigner, even if that foreigner is a shill that mindlessly parrots CCP propaganda and talking points as if they've just swallowed Xi Jinping's thought book and Mao Zedong's little red book with their cheap ass noodles that they're eating in a cheap ass noodle shop in bumfuck nowhere China.
No! God, please, no!
There's absolutely no trust at all, and I can prove this. Do you want an example of a CCP shill getting controlled on his little no genocide in Xinjiang trip? Well, here we go. Look at this guy, walking around Urumqi in Xinjiang, talking as if he's an authority on the area. He's literally only been there for a couple of hours, and already he's proudly proclaiming the Uyghur people are at peace.
The Uyghur people over here are really at peace, man.
And he's talking about the damage done by Western media.
When you walk past them with a camera like what I do right now, they kinda look at you weird because there's so many damage done by Western media in this beautiful area.
Now, to the untrained eye, you might think that this vlogger knows a thing or two and knows exactly what he's talking about. But this shill made a monumental balls up of epic proportions, and possibly the most hilarious China shill fail ever caught on camera. He forgot, of all the things to forget, that he was being followed by his Chinese Communist government minders. Look at them watching his every single move. No wonder he had to say all of that bullshit to the camera. And if Xinjiang really is a free place for happy Uyghurs, then why are these government minders here? It's disturbing and hilarious at the same time, and I can't help but laugh.
Just for my first day here in Xinjiang, I highly doubt that all this false claims about genocide against the Uyghurs, it's not true, my friends. Listen, it's absolutely not true.
And then there was another one of China's propagandists that went on a little genocide denial trip to Xinjiang. In his video, He spoke about how Uyghur Muslims are not oppressed and they're allowed to celebrate their religious festivals without any interference from the Chinese government.
This video is for Muammar Khanat, for Russian Abbas, and for all those people out there saying that Uyghurs cannot celebrate, people in Xinjiang cannot celebrate.
The shill is so excited to tell us about how Uyghurs aren't being oppressed that he doesn't seem to notice this massive Communist Party billboard in the background. The billboard reads, July 1st, praise to the party and forge ahead on a new journey, which is a reference to the CCP's 100th anniversary. What I noticed from this is that the writing is only in Chinese, not in the local Uyghur script. And to me, this is just more evidence of the systematic eradication of the Uyghurs' culture by the CCP. Honestly, when I saw this video, that massive CCP billboard is really the only thing that I could see. Everything else in view is just totally eclipsed by it, apart from this. Now, what the hell is this little thing walking around in the background? It looks really familiar. And I swear I've seen that before. Where have I seen that before? Aha! There it is! That's where I've seen it before. He's making a cameo with our shill from the last clip. You know, that shill that was being followed by his government minders. What the hell is this mascot? It looks like an absolute bag of shit. If I gave a 2-year-old a couple of crayons and asked them to draw me a new mascot, then they'd come up with something way better than this creepy looking thing. I think we need a nickname for this abomination, and I've thought of the perfect name. How about Genocide Bug? He's just bugging us by denying genocide for the CCP. Good old Genocide Bug. Anyway, if Muslims in China aren't being oppressed, then what the hell is going on at this mosque on this random YouTube video that I found somewhere in China? Seriously, how many police officers do you need? And I'm pretty sure that the Shills would tell us that the police are there to protect the Muslims. And yeah, sure, police in other countries do show up to police big events. To me, this seems like an excessive amount of police there just for a day of worship. Anyway, there's so much more evidence online about the cultural genocide that's happening right now in Xinjiang, and I could go on about it a whole lot more, but it's already been said, and said far more eloquently than I could ever say it. The simple fact is, the Shills don't care about any of the evidence suggesting foul play in Xinjiang by the CCP, and will do their absolute best to try and whitewash the atrocities happening there, as is evident from their ridiculous videos about the subject. If they really want to prove us all wrong without a shadow of a doubt, then why don't they go to the re-education centres and show us all that nothing is happening there, and that Xinjiang is just full of happy Uyghurs and Han Chinese, all living in harmony, just a happy place. Go to Xinjiang, Shills, but please don't go on one of your little Chinese government sponsored trips. Actually go there independently and look for real signs of oppression, such as re-education centres, destroyed mosques and mass surveillance. Here, I'll even give you this bloody map of where the re-education centres are to make it easy for you. Prove us all wrong once and for all, why don't you? I bet you'd love to do that. Anyway, I'd also love it if they could prove me wrong, because it would prove that nothing horrible was happening to the Uyghurs. But you know what? They won't be able to prove us wrong, because they won't be able to go there. They can never go to the areas on the map, because they're not allowed to. Or they're too afraid to go there, because the repercussions would be serious. Their authoritarian Big Brother dictatorship doesn't trust them, and would never allow them to go looking for the truth. Anyway, I want to end this video with some real words of wisdom from one of our Shills about the situation in Xinjiang.
I was in Xinjiang. I saw this with my own eyes. The way China handles their minorities is something I'm jealous of. I'm for China. I'm in this country, but I'm jealous of it because I am in a minority in my country, and I can just dream. It's a wet dream for me to be taken care of the way China takes care of their minorities.
Wet dream? Well, I guess you gotta get excited about something in your life, huh? These shills have been busted.
Dance, magic, dance.